And we are live. What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. I got the crew in here. Tunk said he couldn't make it today, but we got everybody else in here. I got Emmanuel. I got Jim from up north. My fault, fellas. I'm doing a sound check while we I got Jim and I got my guy Clayton in here. And Clayton, you just asked me, right?
Yes, sir.
Was I able to stay up and check out that game, USC and Connecticut?
Yeah,
I watched the whole game. It was a good game. I thought it was a good game. Came down to like the last 2 minutes or so. Well, really, the last 2 minutes.
Last seconds.
Yeah,
the last seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. What was your take on the game?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Well, first I want to offer Sarah Strong some grace because she's a freshman. You know what I'm saying? And she had those 3 free throws at the end, and she missed the second one. So, of course, she had to miss the last one. But, you know, she's a freshman, but she played outstanding. I didn't realize how she had outside-inside game.
Yeah.
For a big, because I think she plays center, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and she sees the floor. She can pass. She rebounds. She can shoot. Plays good D. It was outstanding. Now I will say this, and I want to I'm gonna say that the coach for USC almost cost them big time because the game before this game, right? She had Juju in the game, and they were up 50.
I remember that, yeah.
And then Juju wound up hurting and rolling her ankle. That ankle is still ginger. In this game yesterday, you saw her limp off.
Yeah.
And after that, she was no longer the same. She wasn't attacking the same. You know what I'm saying? And it changed because in the second half, in the third quarter, Juju didn't score. She scored in the fourth, only a few buckets. So to me, they need to keep an eye out on that ankle and Juju moving forward. Because it's ginger, you know what I mean? And that can wind up being nagging. So I thought that made a big difference. That's something nobody really talking about because I think that slowed Juju down a little bit. And I love the young lady, Kiki Arfin for USC.
Yeah.
That girl is nice.
Yeah.
She plays really well around that basket. So I thought it was a good game. I thought it was defense.
Yeah.
I love the way Juju blocked shots, turned it into offense. I thought Paige had a good second half, you know, but that's a big win. You go into UConn and you beat UConn in their spot. That's a huge win. So it's gonna be something down the stretch. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the fact that it actually aired right after a big football game on Fox.
That's great.
In prime time. Okay. Now the WNBA can only get a primetime game if their superstar is playing, the one superstar. Okay. But yet college basketball can go into the middle of football season, go in the middle of the college football playoffs, and get a primetime spot on Fox. That lets you know that the individuals that's running women's basketball for college is doing what they need to do to promote that sport. And they need to take them executives and whoever it is in the NCAA that's running that organization and move them right over to the WNBA. Okay? Because those people right there know what they have, know how to market it, and now you can see the results. These girls are playing on prime time, 8 o'clock, Saturday evening on Fox. That's hell for big time football games.
Yeah.
We didn't even they didn't even have a playoff game in that slot. They could have easily had one of the NCAA playoff games for football in that slot. But Fox chose them to play it. And look at the results. We're sitting here talking about that game first. Instead of talking about everything else that's happening this weekend, we're talking about the women's NCAA basketball game first. That even wasn't a tournament. Huh?
I said, you know how I love my Ravens. You know, we won.
Right.
We got to talk about this.
Right, but look what we're starting off with. That's because they're doing it right in their front office. And that's the WNBA needs to take into consideration right now. They're talking about taking all the superstars that play the game. Now they need to talk about all the people that's actually behind the scenes of the game and get them involved in the WNBA. So that's what I want to bring out, to point out right there.
Yeah. So now, Jim, did you get a chance to see that game yesterday?
No, I did not. But that's a great point, man. I wish I would have been able to see. We were at a family function last night.
Right.
We're up here in Iowa. I'm not in Kansas City right now, but
wow.
That would have been that sounds like that would have been a fun game to watch.
Yeah, you know what? And the energy at that, it was, number one, it looked like it was crowded. I don't know if they said anything about the attendance, right? But the energy at that game was like, it was just like a men's college game, a men's college basketball game. I mean, they just was going back and forth. So I like, it was an entertaining game. It had runs in it because USC came out strong, and I didn't know, I like the way that Paige, Bueckers and them responded when they, they got down. I don't know. I think they was down by like a dozen or so, and then they came
18.
back.
They were down 18 at one point.
That's and for the game to come down to the final seconds, like you said, Clayton. They I'm glad Paige played. She had a good game because lately people kind of been coming down on her.
Yeah, but I still don't like her. They consider her one of the most efficient scorers in the game, in the college game, but I'm not liking her efficiency right now. Even yesterday, she was like 9 for 22, where the other girl, Sarah, had a much better efficiency. She was like, or maybe 8 for 14, something like that. But the attendance for that game, Mike, was actually over 16,000. They did mention it, yeah. But man, I will say this, man. It is a few games outside of Caitlin that will get primetime consideration. And that's whenever the Aces and Liberty play. When those two teams match up, the networks tend to give them a primetime spot or a favorable spot.
Yeah. Now, well, let me say this also, right? Because like the title, in my title, I said Juju, Watkins, and Paige Bueckers are not like Caitlin. Now, even though that game yesterday it was packed and it came down to the last, but it's almost like people, and I don't know, I might be guilty of like when we saw, like, it was a little bit more excitement and a little bit more hype last year around Caitlin Clark than it is around, like, I see of any other female basketball player in the college ranks this year. Now the young lady that's at Notre Dame, she getting a lot of
she has it.
Hidalgo. Hidalgo.
There you go. Yeah, this young lady at Notre Dame. But other than that, I like Paige and I like Juju, and people want to anoint them like as the next Caitlin Clark. But I'm not feeling that same excitement energy as I did last year. You know what I mean, with Caitlin Clark. I mean, her last year in school.
Yeah,
I can kind of explain it to some degree, but I don't want to lose anybody with my explanation because how I see things. Sometimes I see things very spiritual, right?
Yeah. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah, Caitlin has the it factor, right? Everybody's not going to have the it factor. And the it factor is not how great you play the game. We have people in our everyday life sometimes that has that it factor. Yeah. And that it factor is you have this strong vortexual pull on things. And people are drawn to you, right? People are drawn to Caitlin no matter what she does because she's vibrating on such a high level. And this is what I mean by that. Like if you guys remember when Allen Iverson stepped on the court with Michael Jordan, right? And in his Hall of Fame speech, he said, I could see Michael's aura. That's because Michael was vibrating on such a high frequency. What put him there is the fact that he's surrendered to his energetic archetype. And what that does is basketball is the thing that connects him real close to source energy. To me, source energy is love. So if you remember, Michael told the Bulls, you need to have a love for the game clause in my contract. I want to always be able to play regardless. He loved competition. He loves it. Now, I'm not saying other players didn't, but not to the same degree. Caitlin loves basketball. I'm not saying Juju don't. I'm not saying Paige don't. But she's having fun with it. She's like a kid playing a kid's game. She loves every aspect of it, the practice, the training, the signing autographs. So when you connect to love like that, now there's very little separation between you and source. That veil is thin. So now that vortex is actually being expressed through you. So everywhere you go, people can't take their eyes off you. People are drawn to you. I'll tell you who else had it. Malcolm X had it. Martin Luther King had it. Tupac had it. It's a thing where when you surrender to who you are and you can, and that connects you to source, now people are drawn to you and they don't even know why. They just can see the light in you. And that's why like different light bulbs shine brighter than others, because it's like when you operate on a real high frequency, you transmit more lumens, right? And now with that, you're going to actually emit more light and you're going to be brighter. So a 50-watt bulb might not shine like a 200-watt bulb. So that's the Caitlin Clark thing. She loves what she's doing in its totality. It's got a vibrating on a high level. And also, when you get on that frequency, one thing we know about Caitlin, Michael, Kobe, some of these guys, not only were they good physically in the game, they were cerebral. Peyton Manning, cerebral. They say that about Caitlin. She's cerebral. So when you get on that level, you're connected to that divine, you know, that divine frequency. You see things before it actually happens. She always talks about that. She can see plays before they develop because she's vibrating on a high level. So it's not the basketball that's making her light shine. It's who she is. And when she plays basketball, her joy makes her play the way she plays, you know. So I think that's the whole it factor that a lot of people can't really comprehend.
Let me another person, would you say Tom Brady had that he seemed to me to have that it factor, because Tom Brady just he ate, slept, and drank football too. Not only did, you know what I mean, and he enjoyed practice. He enjoyed film study when a lot of other players just got bored, wanted to go home, and you know, he would just hang around. So
Well, and you're right about that. And let me also add this to the situation. When you're watching somebody play at a high level, you at that point you're always comparing the next person coming up to that person that you're watching. So when we saw Jordan playing at the high level, everybody else that came in, we compared them to Jordan. And if they didn't match up to comparison, we like, oh, well, maybe they don't have this, maybe they don't have that. And that's what we're doing in college basketball right now. We saw Caitlin Clark play. So now everybody that comes after her, we are comparing her to Caitlin Clark. Now, some of them ain't going to match up to what Caitlin Clark does. Some of them is going to surpass Caitlin Clark. But that's what we're doing. We're matching it up. So sometimes we may look at the women's college basketball now like, well, I don't get the excitement that I used to when I watched Caitlin Clark. That's because you saw the beginning of it, okay? And I want to just go back to what he said, the biblical part of it. Once we recognize as humans who Jesus was, what did we do? We started to do and compare and manifest everything that we thought that Jesus was and that we thought that Jesus wanted. Okay, so and that's what we're doing. When we see that top level and that top Tom Brady playing at his top level, and when you go back and look at some of these, like I'm a Dan Marino fan, but after seeing Tom Brady play at his level, Dan Marino can't come close to Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? And that's because I've seen what I thought was the best. So that's what we're doing. So I mean, I can see what you're saying, Mike, that, you know, these girls are really not exciting you as much as Caitlin did. And they may not never do it. Because now women's basketball, now they're learning to focus on the whole sport itself now. They found their superstars. They marketed them superstars. The superstars left. And they figured now, like, we can get Juju and a couple of these guys to be just as good or build them up to be just as good. So that's what we're going through right now. That's all.
It's got to be organic. I'm sorry, Jim. Go ahead, Jim.
No, I was gonna say it's crazy that you said it that way, Clayton, because this week I was really thinking about this same type of thing, and the thing that kept coming back to me was how competition is kind of it's kind of a sacred thing, right? We love competition, and you guys, I'm sure you guys all played high school sports, and I mean, I loved competition. That's something my stepfather gave me, was just a love of competition. And there is something sacred about that, because when you're doing your thing and you're in that zone, you know, however you want to describe your zone. And I think that was a great description, Clayton. When you're in that zone, man, there is nothing better. And if you give it 100%, you give it everything you got, and you win, there's nothing like it. But if you lose, you can walk off with your head up, right? And it's that test that you give yourself, that I'm gonna rise to the challenge, and bring it back to the women's game. We've seen spots of this before. I remember watching and hearing about Sue Bird and all the things she was doing at UConn, and you know, I think we've kind of seen glimpses of this before. It's just, back to your point, Manny, when Caitlin broke all these records, I mean, just shattered them, and just came in with such fanfare and delivered. And now she didn't take over the WNBA, but she had a great rookie season. She set the record for assists in a single season. It was just fun to watch. And it is all about the fun we get watching someone else have that fun playing and loving and doing and living their best life.
It's infectious. It's infectious.
Right. Yeah. And now when I say that they are not like Clayton, I mean Caitlin, that's not to say that Paige is not bad. That's not just to say that Juju is bad. It's just to say that, like, some players have good games and they play in that zone from time to time, right? But then you have some people who just live in that zone. Like when you say, all right, this person is streaky, or this person, they got hot. But some players are always hot. You know what I mean? That's just even if you're playing basketball, baseball, or football, they just always in that zone. And then that's what people, like real sports fans, they love that, because everybody is not going to be able to play at that level on a consistent basis like you would get like from a Tom Brady, a Peyton Manning, Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? And you can't manufacture that, and that's the thing. You know what I mean? Sometimes, sometimes the NBA and some of these leagues want to try to manufacture these types of situations, and then real sports fans like us, we're like, nah, this ain't that. You know what I mean? This ain't that. That was my
You ever notice though, when we get into a zone, like I've been in the zone maybe twice in my life playing basketball, where everything got slow and everything around me disappeared. And it's just, you don't even realize what you're doing. You're just doing it. To me, that's that divine frequency. That's when you're one with everything, the source, and you become the very thing. And I just think some people are more, because of their energetic archetype, they're more inclined to be aligned with that.
Just to y'all, all right. So, like everybody now, have y'all ever had a game like when you played basketball or football, like when you was in a zone, you know what I mean, and everything worked for you? But you can't, like, if you're not that dude or you're not that woman, you can't duplicate that all the time. Like every athlete strives to be in that zone at all. You know what I mean? Like you're on a playground and you shoot, you like, and every shot you like, or Magic, or you hollering out whoever your favorite player is. Everybody can't like elevate to that level where they just like constantly operate in that zone like that.
Right, but let's remember too, to be in the zone takes hard work. You know what I'm saying? You can't just go and be like, oh, I'm gonna be in the zone right now. No, you gotta. Every person we talk about getting to that zone, they work hard to get there, stay there, and constantly have us talk about them being there. You know what I'm saying? And so if you're on a basketball, like we say we playing a regular game of basketball, and your jumper's just wet, you know what I'm saying? You just killing on the court and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's coming from either one or two things. Either you're working hard to make it done, to get it happening, or whoever playing you ain't working hard enough to stick you, and you just killing them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things that hard work pays off all the time. You know what I'm saying? No matter what field you in, no matter what you're doing, if you work hard to obtain your goal, it works out for you.
But all right, well, let me say this. And I've heard people say this before too. Michael Jordan worked hard, Tom Brady worked hard. But it's another level to that. They were not just the only players to work hard. You know what I mean? Like, now don't get me wrong, they fanatics about what they do. And then so you'll run into certain players who like, I can't handle that type of dedication. But then you like, if I worked as hard as Michael Jordan or Tom Brady, I'm still not going to be Michael Jordan or Tom Brady. And it's just something that switch that they got that everybody has.
Yeah, but you got to also remember this: Tom Brady and Michael Jordan play on a team sport. They're not individuals like golf and tennis. Okay, they're playing a team sport. So when they elevate to their high level, they're bringing people up with them. You know what I'm saying? They're bringing everybody up with them. They're not allowing someone to slack off. Like, you know, if Pippen and Jordan ain't play together, I don't think we're talking about Scottie Pippen the way we do. But because Pittman see what Jordan brought to the table, Pittman decided like, hey, I need to be just as good as this dude. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that's what competition brings and teammates bring to each other. So if you have one person on your team that works really hard and can bring the rest of the team up, that's what comes to me in mind of hard working as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me say this about that. I personally don't believe that there's a such thing as a individual sport. And with that, I'm gonna say that even Floyd Mayweather, Muhammad Ali, they had trainers, and Tiger Woods had his father and he had his caddy. So you have to, in life, it's even a sport like tennis or golf. You know what I mean? Even though you out on that court or you're the course by yourself at that time, and you're the only one putting, you still are drawing from somebody else's energy and their tutelage. You know what I mean? And you're standing on other people's shoulder, people who helped you to get to that level where you are. So, I think it's all the same thing. Even with a Tiger Woods, he drew from his father and his caddy,
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there's no such thing as a one-man sport, really. I mean, there's one-man players, but when it comes to any sport, you got a team around you.
Right.
There's just no one that goes out and be like, hey, I want to be this, I want to be that, without no help or no guidance or no training and stuff like that. So you're definitely right about that.
I mean, that's why I think sports is a great analogy for life, right? I mean, we can't do it by ourselves. Right. We all need a team. We all need a support system.
Right.
Day to day.
Yeah. And I think in today's, and me and you spoke about this, Jim, we spoke about this before we went on air, and we spoke about the NBA and how we liked the NBA in the 70s and the 80s and into the mid 90s because of that level of competition that was there, number one. And then those players, like the elite players back in those days, they had basketball down to like a science, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you were a fan and you watched basketball in those days, you kind of got spoiled because you used to watching guys who, like Tom Brady said, like the greats never beat themselves. You got to beat them. You know what I mean? And that's what old school basketball was all about. The Pistons and the Lakers, you know what I mean? You had to beat, if you wanted the championship from the Celtics, you had to beat the Celtics. Larry Bird, Larry Bird never beat Larry Bird. You know what I mean? You had to beat, if you wanted something from Larry Bird, you had to beat Larry Bird.
Yeah, I'll push back on that a little bit, Mike. I'll push back on that a little bit. And this is why. A lot of great coaches, one great coach like Bill Belichick, for instance, the object of the game is to have your opponent beat you through their weakness. And if you're able to push them to their weakness, a lot of times they'll beat themselves because they're going through their weakness. Like you look at the final when they was calling Magic Tragic Magic. He had a tournament. He beat them. They beat themselves. Like a lot of times you're forcing teams into what they don't want to do, so they beat themselves when you get on that level of competition.
Well, and to see, all right, so you kind of make my point then, because Magic Johnson, they called him tragic, right? And then he worked on his game, and he came back as an.
Oh no, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. In most cases, great teams going at it, one team is going to beat themselves because it's the level of competition is so even.
Yeah. Well, I just think that in most cases you're probably right, but I just think that we used to see all of those guys, everybody come back the next year with something new to their game. Like if you say Mike couldn't left, then Mike went left. You know what I mean? And if you said that Larry couldn't get rebounds, got rebounds.
And they'll work on it, right? Yeah, I'm not disputing that. They come back, they'll try to develop that weakness, but I'm just saying, most cases, that's when you get on that level, that's the object of the game. I'm trying to take away what you do best.
Right. And that's how Bill Belichick coach anyway. He's going to take your strength from you as a good coach, like you said. But they take that away. Let me all right. So let me read this message from Where You From DVD said. I've noticed this season, Paige says up. I don't know. He says up in big games. She's up and down, I guess, in big games. But do y'all think that she's still going to go number one? What y'all think about Paige Becker going number one?
I think. Well, I don't know. I don't know if she stays another year. Of course, she won't. Yeah. I don't know if she's going because she's eligible for one more year. That's crazy to me. But I'm gonna see how the year play out. Right now, coming off the board, she's number one. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't see any other scene. Like a lot of the great players in college right now, they're underclassmen. And I think out of the senior class, she's here to, shoulders above the rest. Now, it may be some European players, some players overseas that might be, really making some noise. I don't know. But if I had to guess, she comes out, I think she goes. Just because of the lineage. She UConn, that's the lineage, so. Yeah. You know how that is. Yeah.
I got to say, I agree. I think Paige will go first off the board. Like you said, she's UConn. And then if she stay another year, I would agree. That probably wouldn't. That would be ill-advised for her to stay another year.
Strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's remember now, if she getting them NIL deals, she may already be getting hot because the WNBA ain't paying shit. So she may be already making that move that whereas though staying another year will financially be better for her.
Yeah.
So let's not forget about that now.
That's a good point, Manny.
That's what's killing the WNBA right now, that these kids can make more in college than they can going to the pros.
I want to jump in on that because what do you guys? I know I don't want to switch gears too fast, but what do you guys think about the fact that the college football guys can enter the portal December 9th and start getting looks and started a playoff game. That's gonna. I mean, that ended up all sorts of weird things with who was the cat from was it Penn State or no
Marshall. Marshall was the big culprit of it. Because remember, they were number one. They went to the bowl game and half their team left when their coach got fired.
Yeah.
So they're the main culprits of it. But from what I hear, the NCAA is supposed to go back and re-regulate that, so people can't leave until February. So they're looking at that now.
So let me be clear. So you saying a player could jump in the portal now and wind up on a team that's in the playoffs and play?
No.
No.
No, but they can certainly mess up a team's. They can jump in the portal December 9th, and all of a sudden, end up not playing because
for that team. I got you.
And what happened to Marshall is they didn't have enough players to play in a bowl game, so they didn't get the bowl that they wanted to get. They had to forfeit that bowl. So right now, it's just one of those things where the portal is great, but it's too early to jump in. You should have a start date and an end date for that portal type situation.
The portal is such a topic of discussion. You gotta be. I guarantee you, 100%, some changes are going to be made to it because it's affecting college football in such a big way. They're going to do something.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
But it's good. Hey, it's good for the game, though.
Yeah, it is.
I like it. Let me read this. Let me see. Juju is really great. She's been under pressure to match up Caitlin's numbers, which at this moment she is not putting up the numbers. The best player right now in this class is Hidalgo. She's cold.
Yeah, she is.
I didn't know any. Now is she a sophomore? Is Hidalgo a sophomore?
Sophomore. Yes.
Oh man, yeah. Hidalgo is. Hidalgo.
But I'll say this to that comment. I'm gonna push back a little bit. Juju actually is putting up the numbers because, unlike Caitlin, first of all, she broke Caitlin's freshman scoring record. And she was the fastest player to, I think, 1,000, whatever. So she is on pace. I will give Juju that. She is on pace for that. But but I don't like the whole idea of putting so much pressure on her to match Caitlin and all. I don't, but I will say this. Iowa got it right because, and this is how you do it. And back to Man's point, it's college and marketing. They're going to retire Caitlin's jersey the night they play USC on February the 2nd, 2-2. So I think that was brilliant. And it also helps to pass the torch, shine even more light on Juju. And I think that game, Juju, I hope she don't come out pressing, but I know she's going to try to ball out in that game against Iowa with the whole jersey retirement, Caitlin in the house, all this kind of stuff. That's going to be great for college basketball. It really is. Yeah. And I think that's smart. Yeah.
It's marketing. Absolutely. And we're talking about her going up against Caitlin numbers. For her, it probably don't even matter. You know what I'm saying? That's something that the college upper half wants to see happen. They put it in the media so we can watch her, watch what she does every single game, talk about as she get closer and closer, keeps talking about the situation. It's all a marketing ploy, and it's great.
Yeah. How you guys feel about George Carl? I don't know if you guys heard his statement. The old UConn coach. Who did he used to coach? George Carl.
Nuggets. George Carl came out of North Carolina.
The Denver Nuggets, North Carolina. Well, he said he thought Juju could play against NBA players.
Yeah. Nah.
You know what? I was watching her yesterday. I'm not so sure he's wrong. I'm not saying she will be dominant or nothing. This girl is strong.
Yeah.
And she knows, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, she did get off. Juju did get off some shots, and she took a couple hard hits and still got, and it was an and one, right? Yeah. So I think, all right, I think Caitlin Clark, in my opinion, because she come off the pick and she get rid of the ball faster, she will have an easier time scoring in an NBA game than Juju, right? Because if she come off the pick and you go underneath, Caitlin Clark can hit that shot. Juju likes to try to break her opponent down one-on-one. You give those athletic dudes an opportunity to square up on her. I think she'll have a harder time.
Right, and I see the point you guys are making. I don't think either one of them would do anything in the NBA. I think if there's a woman that's going to transition between the WNBA and NBA, she's going to be 6'7". All right, she's going to be a bigger, taller woman that's going to be able to get a rebound on the low post and be able to take advantage of that. I don't think none of the guards or anything is going to be able to do anything in the NBA, yo. It's going to be a low post player.
No.
It's going to be a low post player.
I don't even know about a player.
I would venture to say that Juju might not have been official games, but I'll venture to say that she's played pickup games against some NBA players.
Yeah, and so is a lot of the women.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hold on, let's not forget the young lady that used to play in LA that's now a model or whatever she does and went to Japan and stuff. Remember, she had her little stint where she was practicing with the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's been instances where the women have been playing But I'm just saying, to make them relevant to the city. Now, Juju may get, or Juju or Caitlin may get some points coming off of screens and stuff like that. Right. But as far as backing somebody down, taking somebody off the dribble, stuff like that, I don't see that happen. Really
the game is cerebral, though. You got the game is cerebral. So you gotta know how to work angles, pick your spots, and get some space for yourself.
Right.
It's like playing chess.
That's why I said I think that Caitlin will be able to get off a shot. She can, she got that range.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but anybody can get off a shot if they open. It's just all about making it if you open.
Yeah.
But I'm saying is the point that I'm trying to make is she has to get open. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be hard to do when you're playing a dude that's physical with you. That's gonna be hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to test the theory, I think you should test the theory even in high school or college. Don't test the theory in the pros. If you want to test that, make a co-ed league in high school and get these high school players to run up and down the court with each other to see what outcome that happens.
No, I just said that she'll be able to get off a shot. I don't think that they will be able to make a
Yeah, it ain't gonna be that right, but I think they can help a team. Absolutely.
I want them to make a difference, yo. I want to see a co-ed league. I want to see these women make differences to change the complexity of sports right now. Okay. NBA basketball is the prime sport that we can take and make a change in it.
Man, it's a physical difference, man. That testosterone in a man compared to estrogen in a woman is too much of a difference physically.
And you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But if we're talking skills, and the way the NBA is now is your skill is shooting. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
There's some women that will be able to survive in the NBA if given a chance. That's what I believe. If given a chance, there are some women that will be able to survive.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this these top teams in women's college basketball, right? So we got UCLA is ranked number 1. I like UCLA. I think UCLA. I don't know, and I think what really got UCLA there is the fact that they beat South Carolina. That's what really got them up there.
I haven't watched them yet. I really got to watch them. I haven't watched them play.
I like them. I just seen them the one game when they played South Carolina, and they look really, really good.
Okay.
And now I don't know if they caught South Carolina like on an off night, but I mean, it is what it is. They beat them. They ranked number 1, and I'm sure that's not the only reason why they number 1, but they got South Carolina. South Carolina ranked number 2. I like South Carolina. They look pretty good this season. Notre Dame. I'm just really high on Notre Dame. I just like this basketball. You know what I mean? Who's the young lady on this team that on with the glasses for Notre Dame? What's her name? With the goggles.
You talking about Oliver? What's her name? Oliver Myers. Okay. Yeah. Olivia Myers. All
right. So somebody is one of our guys, Patrick, in the chat say UCLA might be national champions this year. I got I got a chance. I just want to see them more.
Okay.
And you got UConn is at number 4. I think UConn going to fall even further.
You do?
Yeah. After they lost, I think they're going to fall for a little further.
Yeah, I think UConn is going to fall.
They won't be out the top 10, but
no, I don't think so. But to me, I don't think they look as strong as some of these other teams. LSU, I had a chance to see LSU, but LSU is ranked number 5. And what's the girl? Flage. She is a junior this year, so that's crazy right there. LSU number 5.
The girl with the goggles, I said her last name wrong. It's Miles, not Myers. Miles, Olivia Miles. But yeah, go ahead. But we spoke about Flage last week. She actually is eligible for the draft.
She is? Okay.
Even though she's a junior. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And Maryland, USC number 7. I want to see Maryland. Maryland and USC play, I think, January 7th or January the 8th. I want to see that game because they're
hey,
ranked 7 and number 8.
Maryland is putting together a good basketball program down there. The men's is doing well as well. The men's doing pretty good. I commend Maryland for what they're doing right now, considering where they were.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So they got some good matchups, and the rankings, man, is it's a lot to be excited about as far as women's basketball is concerned. And so
we're gonna see how it play out.
Yeah,
you got any national champion predictions? I know the one person said UCLA. Any predictions?
Man, I like South Carolina. I like South Carolina.
South Carolina.
South Carolina and Notre Dame. Notre Dame just crazy. But what do you say, man?
South Carolina.
I like
South Carolina.
Top to bottom. I like that team top to bottom. And then they got a strong bench in South Carolina. They're just deep. South Carolina is deep. Then they got the coaching, you know what I mean? Good coaching, so excellent coaching.
What about Tennessee?
Where did I see? I don't think Tennessee was in the top 10. No, they wasn't in the top 10. But I don't know where.
Okay.
Yeah, they're 18.
Oh, okay.
18. Okay.
Yeah.
And Iowa, what was Iowa? Were they 21? I think
22.
Yeah,
22. Yeah.
They probably still in top 25, but they top. But I think they're doing a good job with what they lost and everything. I think they're doing a good job. I can't see them making it back to the Final Four.
No. Yeah. So let's switch gears, man, and talk a little bit about the NBA. What did you think about that tournament, that Emirates tournament?
The NBA Cup.
I liked. I said it last week. I like the format. I mean, one and done. Win or go home. And the final was a dog, man. That was just so boring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had high hopes that it was going to be an interesting game, and I mean, Giannis put up good numbers. He had a triple-double. I mean, so he impressed me even more because I started thinking about how he's such a physical player in today's game. And he could have played back. I don't know if he dominate, but he could play back when the game was a lot more physical, because that's the kind of game he's got.
Yeah.
But that block he had where it went off the backboard and hit Caruso in the face, and it's like, man, he was just being a bully. But yeah, it was a boring game. Yeah. I mean, I literally fell asleep at one point.
Let me tell you about the situation with that. Now, they put that in place just so they can boost viewership, before the Christmas holidays and stuff like that. And now they're talking about the NBA has the worst viewership since the 70s. Okay. And it's crazy because the things that they're putting into effect now, they thought was going to help the league, and it's hurting the league even more. You know what I'm saying? And with that tournament and the two teams they had in the tournament in the cup, it just manifests everything to come to tuition. Like, your viewership is down. The thing that you using to get the viewership up was even lower than you even anticipated. Yeah. So to me, it's the NBA has to change, either to meet the new viewership or to do something to get people to come back. Yeah. Because like I said, I usually don't watch the NBA until after the Christmas holiday. And now I'm not even excited about watching it in February now. They don't know what to do with the All-Star game. You know what I'm saying? The All-Star game is going back and forth how they should handle that thing. It's just, I think the NBA just needs new leadership right now because it's at its low. And I don't want to see the NBA, go down because I love basketball. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only thing we have when it comes to professional basketball. And anytime I'm willing to watch the G League before I watch the real NBA, there's a problem like that. So
that's, what that's a sign of, though, man. That's a sign of you wanting to see competition.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so when you see guys in the G League or you see guys playing at a lower level who are trying to get to that next level, or people who are playing for the love of the game, that's what fans are craving for. The fans are craving for competition, and you're not really getting that from the NBA, you know, on the level that we are used to getting that competition.
Yeah. I've never heard of sitting players just because until the NBA started doing it. You know what I'm saying? Or we're going to sit him just because he's maybe tired. Like, this, come on, man. That's not competition to me. You know, that's why I like watching the G League, because them boys want paychecks. They want to show off their skills and everything. That's what the NBA was that in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. That's what the NBA was. Now this new NBA is like, first, if you can't shoot a three, you ain't going to play. Even if you're a 7-foot center, if you can't shoot the three, you're not going to play. All right? So ain't no bully ball. There's no, you can't be physical in the NBA, can't do none of that. You sit players just because, not because they injured, not because, you know, there's something going on in their family life for them. You just sit them because you don't want them to have a workload. And that's what the NBA culture is building. If I'm a coach and you come to me and be like, yo, I want to sit because I'm tired, dude, get off my team. Everybody on the team is tired. If you don't want to play, you get off the team. But they don't hit that, man. That's why people not watching the NBA no more, man.
Well, how you guys feel about Dame and Giannis gelling? Like, it's been a whole year now. It seems like they started slow. They won this cup. A lot of people are saying it seems like they are learning to play together a little better now. What you guys think about that? Is that a real thing?
They look good.
It is.
They look good. But the problem is you can look good one night and look like shit the next night.
And that's exactly what happened this week, because that next Bucks game, man, they stunk up the place. They lost by 30.
So look, with a coach like Doc Rivers, why can't they avoid that type of situation as far as inconsistency is concerned, right? So they play good, you know, and for the Emerald Cup, and Giannis looked good. We even got Patrick on here saying that Giannis easily the best player in the league. I give him the notch over Jokic because of his defense. You know what? And I can agree with that, Patrick, because when you got a player who play at both ends, you know, as opposed to one player who just, you know, specializes in offense. I can agree with that statement right there from Patrick. But
and I think Giannis averaging 30, right? Over 30 and 11 rebounds or something.
Yeah, but see, if you're Doc Rivers, and let's say Giannis is off in the second quarter, and can you really take him out the game? You know what I'm saying? If he's you know, going 1 for 10, can you really take him out the game? You can't do that. Doc can't do that. You got to let Giannis play through it. And that's the part that's going on with the NBA. Coaches can't really coach these superstar players on these teams. You know what I'm saying? Coaches can't do it. Back in the day, you know, if you went 1 for 10, you was coming out that second quarter, no matter who you was. Now you take Giannis out, they like, yo, why are you taking Giannis out the game? So what, he was 1 for 25. We still need him on the court. So, you know, I feel for Doc Rivers and these coaches now, because it's hard to take these superstar players out when they're playing bad, or you know that they're playing bad and you want to take them out to substitute them for somebody that's number 8 or 9 on the bench, because to bring the new energy in that your superstar not doing, but you can't do it. You look bad when you do it.
And sometimes it's to the players' benefit to sit them down, to give them the opportunity to look at the game and look at the flow of the game and see how they're being played. You know what I mean? Coaches, like you said, man, coaches are not even allowed to do that with the, you know what I mean? Just basically coach their players.
Right. So, you can't, these coaches nowadays have to coach. Instead of coaching their players that's on the court, they got to coach the media. They got to coach the front office. They got to coach these superstar attitudes. They got so much more to deal with instead of the X's and O's of basketball. You know what I'm saying?
But I think great coaches still can coach. And I just think it's just a handful that might be in the league. But when you're a great coach, you can coach because you don't give a damn about none of that shit. Whenever you let media, players, and all this stuff shape your team and your decision making, you're not the coach for me. You're not a great coach.
But
You got to block that bullshit out because I'm gonna tell you what wins. This is what wins at the end of the day. Results. Wins. That wins.
But do me a favor. Name one of those coaches on the NBA right now.
What?
That has that ability right now.
I think Steve Kerr has the ability. I think the guy in Boston has the ability.
Hey, if Steve Kerr takes Steph Curry out because Steph Curry ain't doing his job, you're gonna hear about it in the media. Trust me on that.
I don't know. I think Steph has a level of respect for Steve because his cachet. He come from Pop Tree. He come from the Bulls. They got championships. I think if he decides to sit him down or cool him off, I think Steph will be in agreement. This is best for the team at this moment.
He can't even do that with Draymond Green.
I think he can. I don't think he can. This is what he should have been sitting. This is what he can't do. This is what he can't do with Draymond. He can't discipline him. But damn if he can't sit him down because he's done.
He hasn't done it lately.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Let me say this about this.
And Greg Popovich, the guy in San Antonio.
Well, go ahead. And I agree with Greg Popovich. And I agree with that.
Go ahead.
But Greg Popovich just got a superstar.
In Miami coach. But go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think because Phil Jackson and Dennis Rodman, you know what I mean? Like with those kind of they are eccentric. You know what I mean? They some people call them crazy, some people call them eccentric. So you gotta manage them a certain kind of way, which I think Phil Jackson and I think Steve Kerr manages. And I mean, Steve Kerr and Steph Curry kind of manages Draymond a certain way too. You know what I mean? You need it, but you don't need some of the drama that come with it. And Mike did the same with Dennis Rodman. They managed Dennis Rodman, but they didn't really control Dennis Rodman. You know what I mean?
It ain't about controlling. Yeah. You can't. But go ahead.
Right.
Yeah, Phil Jackson was the name I was thinking of, and I'm glad you brought that up, Mike, because that's the first name I was thinking of who from the old school could manage today and do what you're saying about managing in a way that doesn't upset everyone, but still gets results.
Right. And see, now in the era before that, when you had Pat Riley and Chuck Daly, right? They managed more so with an iron fist. You know what I mean? Like
my way or the highway.
My way, but players back then, like you could manage. You could manage a Magic Johnson or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar like that. Whereas though today you can't manage like Karl Anthony Towns like that. You know what I mean? Like Kareem had to ask Magic Johnson for permission to bring his father on a team bus. I mean, he had to ask Pat Riley for permission to bring Pat Riley on a team bus. Whereas though Karl Anthony Towns be like, man, come on, he be like, come on, man, you riding with us.
But see, and you're right. But look at the result that those coaches had during those times is the key.
Different era.
It was a different era, but they still had success. Karl Anthony Towns, he's a superstar, but what has Karl Anthony Towns won? Absolutely nothing. You know what I'm saying? He has won nothing.
Do you think that would fly with Greg Popovich?
Well, no.
I'm bringing my homie on the bus.
Hey, not at all. Not at all. Even if he was a championship level center,
right,
it still wouldn't pass with Greg Popovich.
Right.
Yeah. But my question is, we're talking about that part of Anthony Towns that I want to bring my friend. Why do you even want to bring your homeboys on the bus? You know what I'm saying? Why you want to even be in that situation? You're an NBA star that should be, setting an example for the rest of your team, but you're making demands and you ain't won nothing. You haven't won a thing, but you're making demands on your coach and on your team or things that you want. That's the problem to me what the NBA is right now. They got too many I want to be a superstar, so you should treat me like a superstar instead of people playing like superstars and becoming superstars.
Well, let me ask y'all something controversial.
Mm-hmm.
To that type of attitude, do y'all think that LeBron James ushered that type of attitude into the NBA?
I don't think it was LeBron. I think LeBron may be a little bit of a product of that same kind of. It's just the way, it's a generational thing. I think the internet and technology and instant, just social media has just changed the way. And I'm gonna sound like the old guy that I am. That you didn't have social media when we were coming up. And you didn't have this type of instant feedback loop that kids have today. And I hate saying that word, kids, but I mean, just it's a generational thing. And so to your point, I don't think any one person kind of started an avalanche. It just is the way the society is today. And don't get me started on Karl Anthony Towns and why he hasn't won anything, because he hadn't won anything because he played in Minnesota. And I got a lot of bad things to say about the way Minnesota's being run, but anyways, that's a different story.
Well, I will say, like, speaking of the age and the generational thing, right? I think that also speaks to the viewership being down, and this is why I say that, because it's not just the lack of competition, because even if you had competition, it's so much streaming going on. There's so many different ways people can view the game. The people, as consumers, our attention span is short. People don't even want, even if it's competitive, we don't want to necessarily sit through the game. We'll wait till it get uploaded on YouTube or something. We'll watch the highlights and get the gist of the game. So even if it was like as competitive it was back in the day, I still feel like viewership would be down to some degree. And Allen Iverson, let me speak to him real quick. LeBron didn't bring it in. I remember Allen had to get checked. People had to really get at Allen about this group, his homeboys and all the people hanging on and hanging around him while he was, navigating his way through the NBA seasons and stuff like that. So he was one too that had an issue with the homeboys and stuff like that.
And my opinion on the situation is not necessarily LeBron to where as though the NBA doesn't have the next LeBron. Okay, and that's my opinion. The NBA doesn't have the next LeBron right now. As much as John Morant plays, he's always in trouble. Can we really sit there and say there's a person in the NBA now that we really want to watch? You know what I'm saying? Day after day. I can't say that. You know what I'm saying? I'm more of a team type person now. I don't have that superstar on my radar that I'm saying, I like that guy. I want to watch him play when they play, no matter what team he's on. And I think that's goes for a lot of the old people, the older people, let me say that watches the NBA, because we're so used to Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Shaq, and then LeBron. We're so used to those names coming at us every single week that we would entertain by that. I don't see anybody entertaining me in the NBA after LeBron leaves.
Now, but John Morant, like, and some of these other players like Anthony Edwards, Kyrie and stuff, they got the sizzle to their game, right? You see Ja do that backwards dunk. Now, back in the day, I always revert back to Mike against Merlin when he rocked the cradle. So once he did that, everybody wants to see what he's going to do next. Back in the day, we had to sit through the game to see what they were going to do next. Now, and Sports Center made that a thing to grow their network, highlights. So now we don't want to sit, our attention span is short. We don't have to sit through the games to see what they're going to do next. All we got to do is wait for the shit to get uploaded on YouTube and watch the highlights.
Right. But as the NBA has to evolve with that, though. Because let's remember, ESPN came online in 1978. So ESPN been around for 50 years, 60 years. Okay. So, and they've been showing highlights. It's just the point that I'm trying to make is that who are you showing the highlights of? Who are we watching for the highlights? Now, the NBA, like I said, John Morant, he's spectacular and everything. But the only thing the NBA is putting out on John Morant is when some shit happens to him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, if we
I
get
don't
more
know.
than John Morant highlights and they televise a lot more of his games, you know, maybe we will have that.
That reverse dunk he did the other night, that thing went viral.
and it did, and that's the reason we know about it, because it went viral. But what happened to somebody actually doing the game on TNT or something like that?
That's my point. Yeah. Nobody has that attention span, and we don't have to watch the game to see what's next. We just wait for the clip to go viral and we watch it.
Yeah, but see, that's happening in basketball though. Football doesn't have that problem.
Sure it does.
No, viewership.
I mean, you get a lot of people watching the games, but even NFL highlights are going viral, and people are watching the upload.
Right. But that's every sport.
And a lot of people don't even have, and a lot of people don't even have cable and all that stuff no more. We just doing streaming. So some of this stuff you gotta wait for the highlights.
And the league even is feeding into that you got the NBA pass. I get on my phone. I didn't watch the games last night, so let me get on my phone and just go through all the highlights.
Yeah.
Right. But what I'm saying is there's something that the NBA is missing, because everybody else's viewership is up. Okay, so we can't blame it on social media and the access to content, because football is up and baseball is up.
Yeah.
Well, let me say this, right? Because it can be two-sided. Like the NBA could be cheating the fans, and the fans could be cheating themselves. And because we have watched a lot of basketball, and then when we saw those ESPN highlights coming up, and we saw the spectacular plays and spectacular dunks, that was cool. But if you sit and you watch an NBA game, but like in the 80s and the 90s, it's almost like when you're watching a chess match, you can't just go to a chess match just for the highlights. You have to follow a chess match from start to finish because of the science of the game. And that's what basketball is missing now, is the science of the game.
So
you can teach yourself, go to ESPN, and you can watch John Morant do a fancy dunk or something like that. But then you miss everything that was in between that, because you miss the gamesmanship, you miss the total, the rivalry and everything, just the basic science of the game when you just watch the highlights.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, gentlemen. What is more entertaining to you then? If you're watching a game where they have taken 55 threes in the game, or you're watching a game, or let me ask you a question, or you're watching a game where they only took 10 threes a game, but you got some spectacular dunks. What are you watching the NBA for right now? Because we all know it's a shooting league. We all know teams take more than 20 threes a game, regardless. So we know that. But what are we watching the game for? Is my question to you guys.
Personally, I want to see the science of the game. I want to see people if somebody take away your low post game, I want to see who can score from the wing or the elbow. I want to see, you know what I mean, like footwork, like Kevin McHale footwork, or Hakeem Olajuwon, their footwork in the low post. You don't see that. Like, I don't know if Karl Anthony Towns has good footwork. I don't know if like any low post in the NBA, if they have good footwork, or if they are as versatile. Like if you push them out of the paint, like you could push Pat out the paint. Like can you hit that mid range? You know what I mean? Like you're looking for old school techniques and old school gameplay in this new era, is what you're saying, right? I'm looking for science. I'm looking for gamesmanship. You know what I mean? Like, okay, it's either three or dunk. You know what I mean? Like the mid range that's a lost art. The low post game is a lost art. You know it's and I think the fans have cheated themselves by not demanding that the NBA give them that product.
Okay.
Well, that's the only problem. Like, I don't know how the fans can demand it from the league outside of what they already doing. They're not tuning in. See, to me, I'm not watching because I don't believe the game can offer me any stimulation outside of a few individuals. Like, I like to watch a Kyrie play. I like maybe the playoff atmosphere a little bit because it gets a little bit more physical and competitive. But I don't even go to the NBA thinking that this is what I'm going to get because it's not there anymore.
Right. it feels like every night it's just kind of a exhibition of skills, right? It's a skills. It's a skills based, and it's not. Yeah. To Mike's point, it's not the chess match that I mean. Phil Jackson had his triangle and won to try to disrupt how teams are going to come in and run their offense. And now, it doesn't, that sort of mentality doesn't really matter in today's game, because you're just going to come out and try to, get things established outside.
Well, I've heard a couple of things that they were talking about to try to change something. And one of them is to move the 3-point line back about 3 feet and take the corner 3 away. Yeah. Okay, like it is in some Japanese leagues. Okay, now what do you guys think about that? With that, because if you take that corner 3 away, that means your whole perimeter is open. The whole perimeter is 2 points, so you bring it closer to the basket as possible at that point. But what do you think about that? You think they should adapt some of those foreign courts?
I'm just a firm believer that no matter what the court is, no matter what the rules, no matter what, if I'm a competitor and I'm trying to compete and I'm trying to win, like none of that matters. So even if you move the line back, I don't know if it's in these players to really, compete at a high level. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if that's going to help it.
Yeah, but would you watch though? What would get you to come back to the NBA? That'll be my next question, gentlemen. What would get you to come back to the NBA?
I think bring some of that physicality back to the game. You know what I mean? Because when you shoot 3-pointers, that kind of takes it. Kind of it's almost like settling, right? You know, like and then you don't get that you don't get bumped around, you don't get pushed around. And when you get bumped around and you get pushed around, you either going to do one or two things. You're going to step back and you're going to shoot a 3 because you are settling, or you're going to demand your space. You're going to carve out your space, and you're going to shoot from where you want to shoot from. So, I think that 3-pointer really hurt I think it hurt the game.
Well, we were talking about this before, Mike, before we got live. Mm-hmm. The inside game was such a part of the 80s basketball.
Right.
And they had the 3-point, but you used that 3-point as a pressure valve, right? To release the pressure from the inside, but the game was still played inside.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I agree. I would like to see a little bit more physicality back in the game. Mm-hmm. And play inside, because I mean that's
so. I haven't been watching. Did they bring the hand check back yet?
No.
So you still can't hand check, huh?
No. And just imagine, you had guys who could still get around you even when you hand check.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the defensive prowess, just like, in football, I think football should be a little bit more physical than it is now. But basketball, I think they took the physicality just straight out of basketball. Yeah. Like, you can't touch, you can't body check, you can't even throw a hard screen no more. And that's the crazy part to me about basketball. That was what basketball was, If you checking somebody and you ain't paying attention to that screen and nobody yells it out and you get put on your back, that's where you're supposed to be. Yeah. But now that's a foul. Like, come on now. What are we playing here? Yeah. So, to me, I think you guys are right. The physicality of basketball is gone. Yeah. When you do,
ain't that what some of what's appealing about the WNBA? Because the WNBA actually plays more physical than the NBA.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, like some of those fouls that Caitlin Clark took, like she took some hard fouls last year and she got up. Everybody else was complaining, but she got up and she just went on about her day.
And because they know it's part of the game, you take a hard foul.
Yeah.
And the cool part about the NBA was if you took a hard foul, you turn right back around and give a hard foul.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's
they
what the game is about.
So you didn't foul nobody no harder than you wanted to be fouled. You know what I mean?
Right.
So and that's why people were saying last year that Caitlin Clark needed an enforcer. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like Michael Jordan had Charles. He had Oakley when he first started, and then
That was funny, yo. That the enforcer was actually a position on the basketball team. You know, like yo, what position you play? I play enforcer. That's what I play. I play enforcer.
That's when you had the Davis boys. You know, man. And then you had what was it, Anthony Mason up in New York and
Mason.
Mason
was like that.
What was the dude that had to fight in Indiana? What was the dude that had Artest?
Ron Artest went up in the stands. Him and Steven Jackson. Yeah. What was that?
Malice in the Palace. Yeah. Meta world peace.
Yeah, man. So I think that's why the WNBA and you know what I mean, like they just play a more physical style of basketball, and you know, it's more competition. You got to get around obstacles.
I truly think David Stern only has about maybe 3 more years left in the NBA if he doesn't turn it around.
You mean Silver?
I mean, David Silver. I'm sorry, Silver. He only has about 3 years left. Maybe 2 if it gets worse. Because the league is going down, and you know the hardcore fans are looking for a lot more out of the NBA, and they're just not getting it right now.
Yeah. Now, let me see. Miss Pinky Lee Davis said hand checking is still illegal, and players still get away with it. Yeah, but you see a lot less of hand checking.
Yeah, I think they should bring it back.
Bring it back.
Bring it back. Yeah. We need some more resistance, you know, bring it back.
Yeah, I mean, defense.
Yeah,
players need other ways to play defense in the NBA. I mean, hand checking was a good way where you can actually make sure somebody stays in front of you with all these checking and all this movement and everything that everybody's doing. It made sure that, you know, when you bring the ball down, you had to turn your back. A point guard had to turn his back to figure out what was going on. He had to turn his back and back somebody down.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think they should bring it back with a lot of other things as far as, you know, bringing the physicality back to basketball.
Yeah. And thanks a lot, El Professor, for the super chat. And he said he loved the competition. I mean, the conversation. Thanks for the super chat, El Professor. Yeah, man, I just think that those hand checks, man, it just kept people honest. And all that and stuff that you see, like with what's the guy named Hardaway? I mean, Harden, how he dribbles the ball.
Yeah. James Harden.
It's just unnecessary.
A lot of them are phantom M1s.
Yeah.
But
you know what I'm
when
saying?
Harden dribbles the ball, have you ever noticed when Harden dribbles the ball, he dribbles but don't go nowhere?
Yeah, he don't go nowhere. Just a lot of patting and pulling.
Right,
a lot of patting and pulling.
He doesn't go anywhere, yo. It's just crazy. Like, and if you had the hand check, he couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it if you had a hand check.
Like you said, Magic Johnson, he used to just turn his back on you and where he wanted to go on the court.
And then also see everything.
See
everything on the court. Yes.
And half of that stuff that Kyrie can do with the ball, I bet you Magic probably never even practiced that stuff.
Yeah, because there was no need to. Magic had no need for a crossover. Why? Right. Because he took you old school, backed you down, and distributed that way. Those dudes, when Allen Iverson brought out the crossover, is because he was a smaller guard. And remember, Iverson was a shooting guard at first. Okay, and he was a smaller shooting guard that had to deal with people that was 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". So that crossover gave him more position when he hit that basket.
Right. And all fairness, Magic 6'9", so he's got that size advantage. Where you look at Isaiah. Isaiah did crossovers too. And his ball handling was very much part of how he got around people and got space. So with a smaller player, sometimes it's needed, you know.
Yeah, but Isaiah never crossed Jordan over to make that rule change.
I don't know. You know, I love Mike, but I'm not sure. I don't know.
Hey,
I don't know. Isaiah done dealt on a lot of people in the league.
Isaiah beat everybody. Everybody that work. Isaiah, Mike T.
Yeah, Isaiah had that bad work.
Yeah.
That's why Isaiah wasn't on that Olympic team. Everybody know that. That's why Isaiah wasn't on that Olympic team.
Yeah.
You know, that shit he used to do to Jordan. That's why he wasn't doing that.
Isaiah was a sore loser, too. I mean, a lot of guys, it wasn't just Mike. A lot of guys didn't want him on that team. They just wasn't. They let Mike be the face for that. Yeah.
And that's because the Detroit Pistons was the ultimate in bad boy physicality in foot and basketball, period. I don't think there was another more physical championship team in the NBA, period. The bad boys will beat you up from beginning to end.
And I'll say this, they were physical, but some of that stuff Detroit did was borderline dirty, especially when you talk about Lambeer. Yeah. And I also remember this. A lot of people don't talk about this. And I remember this. When Magic first got his diagnosis, right? Isaiah made a wisecrack in regards to that, almost like implying or questioning Magic's sexuality. And they don't bring it up no more, but I distinctly remember that. And that's supposed to be your guy and your best friend. I think that hurt Magic a lot. And I think Magic was just as much part of keeping Isaiah off as Mike was.
Yeah, but you also got to remember too that Detroit Piston team, they was essentially all for each other in that squad. They didn't care about nothing else but their core. They didn't care about anything else and nothing else. And if you wasn't a Detroit Piston, you was an enemy to them.
Yeah.
So,
but I don't know, but Magic and Isaiah relationship was something different. That was off the court. And when your guy come down with this diagnosis, but the first guy that's reaching out to you is Larry Bird, you know what I mean? And then Isaiah's, is styling on it or making innuendo. That's tough, man.
Remember, Isaiah and Jordan used to be great friends.
See, I don't know how great they are. I know some stuff came out about, him staying, his nephew staying with Michael and all that. But I'm just saying that thing was tough. Magic was really going through something at that time. So that, you know what I mean? That hurt.
Yeah. I'm not saying Isaiah didn't deserve everything he got.
Yeah, that hurt.
It was Isaiah, Magic, and who was the other guy?
Mark Aguirre.
Yeah, those three were really close off right? And they had some business ventures together, those three. And so their relationship between Isaiah and Magic never really recovered from that.
It never recovered. Yeah.
And nor should have. I don't think it never should have.
But see, all right, so let me ask y'all this then. So, all right, so we saw how those old school basketball players back in the day, they ruined relationships with each other for the love of the sport. And now you see guys these days who want to trade jerseys at halftime and or they talking and stuff like that. So what do you think about the relationship between players? What I mean?
The players right now are from the attitude era of participation trophies, and that's what I'm gonna call it. All right, it's a game, so let it stay a game. But other than that, we are friends. Okay. Yeah. When I played basketball, I knew the people that I was playing against. But when we stepped on that court and you wasn't on my team, I'm coming at you. You know what I'm saying? You come down low, you're gonna catch your elbow. You're not paying attention, you're gonna catch a pick. That's just the way we played in our mindset, because like we said earlier, gentlemen, your mindset was to win. You know what I'm saying? That's what you focused on, of being the best that you could be and winning. Now with this new generation, I've never heard a participation trophy until I started coaching Little League, and they told me we don't keep score. What are you teaching children to play competitive sports if you're not keeping score? And that's what we're dealing with right now, the repercussions of that type of situation. That's why if I give you my jersey, it's all good. But back in the day, you wouldn't even get my socks. You know what I'm saying? I give it to a kid on the sidelines, but no, we ain't trading no jersey. I don't need your jersey hanging up nowhere in my crib. Okay, don't need it. So no, I don't care who you are. And if would never seen Jordan and Magic changing jerseys. I'd have been like, what the hell is that? And I'd have lost respect for both of them if I seen them signing each other jerseys and giving it to them. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you have a little bit too much respect for them too. But if you saw that happen, you would think that was some good shit. Because we all love those guys. We wouldn't even have looked at it as a slight on them. You know what I mean? Because one thing they would have done when they stepped on that court was go at each other's throat, regardless.
Hey, when they played in the Olympics, I thought that was the hottest thing going in the 92.
Yeah,
I just love that part. But that was it.
Yeah.
That was like they played the Olympics. I'm like, yeah, great.
Well,
let's see what they go back to.
So in the Olympics, right? When you see Magic, Bird, Mike, and all those NBA greats playing together, I'm in my opinion, that's the only time that those guys should have been on the same team throughout their career is when they playing for the guy. You know what I mean? And then nowadays you got guys who want to team up. Man,
hey,
that's
did anybody see the documentary on that Olympic team where they was talking about they was in that practice and Bird did something to Barkley or something, one of them, and they just separated and just started going at it. And it's great. The coach was like, yo, y'all shouldn't play this tough. And Magic was like, nah, you go sit down somewhere. We got this. And they just started going at it. I would have loved to see that game. That's the game televised.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I wanted to see. A true all-star game where it's nothing but pride on the line for all these superstars.
Yeah. I agree, man. When you see Magic and Bird and them, and they show some of those clips, like when those Olympic practices and stuff like that, when Magic is at one end and Mike and his team is at the other end.
Yeah,
that probably was the toughest competition that they faced throughout those Olympic tournaments. You know what I mean?
Yeah, each other.
Yeah.
But hey, hold on. But I was also mad, because they didn't give Kristen Layton no props. I'm a Duke fan, so Kristen Layton should have got some props.
What Magic say? Magic, y'all can have it.
Y'all can have it.
We don't need him. Y'all can have him. He can't help us. He can't help
I'm a
either
Kristen
team.
Layton fan. He should have been in that. He should have been in that game.
That was hilarious.
I mean, to be honest, he was still just coming out of college.
Yeah, he was. He was.
I thought Shaq should have been the college player on that team. Me personally.
Oh yeah.
I thought that.
Nah, I'm a Duke
I would
fan.
have loved that.
Nah, come on, now Kristen Layton that just won the national championship.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
Come on.
Yeah. He was a national champion. No. Oh no. What
about all right? So what you say, Jim? The Admiral will never be forgotten.
Dave. Yeah, Dave put in the chat that why is David Robinson almost forgotten? And I had to respond, man. The Admiral, he's underrated, but I mean, if you saw his game, he let his game do his talking. He wasn't a flashy guy, but he was a dominant guy for sure.
But see, but I think it's the Spurs team in general. The Spurs put together, that organization puts people together so well that David Robinson is an all-star on any type of level. But you just think about how good the Spurs organization is as a basketball team. I mean, as an organization, they had David Robinson come down there, and then soon as David Robinson retires, Tim Duncan right there behind him. You know what I'm saying? And as soon as Tim Duncan, then you have your boy Mr. Hurt all the time. What's his name? Oh my God, went to Toronto.
Oh, Kawhi.
Yes, Mr. Hurt all the time. Kawhi.
Yeah.
They just build their superstars up. So I don't think people forget about David Robinson more than they just say, it's just he's just part of that Spurs thing, It's like that Spurs machine.
And I don't think near one of the Dream Team members will ever be forgotten. None of them. That alone cemented them in lore.
I dig all those guys. You know what I mean? John Stockton, Mullins on there, man. All of their boys, right? I remember
Drexler.
Drexler.
I remember
seeing
Clyde the Glide.
Yeah. I remember seeing David Robinson as a freshman at Navy, Loyola College in Baltimore, right? I went to a basketball game. Loyola College was playing Navy, and Dave Robinson was a freshman, and we had the little game program. We had the program. I was like, oh man, Navy got a 7-footer. You know what I mean? And Dave Robinson ain't seen no time that game, right? And then to watch him get better from college and then go to the when they played against Duke and everything in the tournament. Dave Robinson, man, his game just over the years just really.
And let's not forget, he scored 72 in one game.
Yeah. And hold up, and let's not forget, he didn't come out when he came out. He still had to do his 5-year service.
Yes,
so he didn't come straight out and go to the NBA. He still had to do his 5-year commitment first.
Yep, you're right.
So can you imagine if David Robinson would have come straight out and went to the NBA?
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
In every Olympic team, every Olympic team, USA Olympic team is going to always be compared to that first dream team. So that alone also is going to keep them in the public conversation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people frown on LeBron sometimes. Because remember, LeBron first dream team, they lost, and then they had to get Kobe for the second one to make them win.
Yeah.
And Kobe attitude came in and let them win again. So a lot of LeBron's legacy now is some of that is losing as well. Some of his legacy is losing.
Don't get Mike started.
Yeah. Some of his legacy is losing now.
Don't get Mike started.
Hey, man, you being a little generous. You talk about some of it. You mean most of it. Anytime you you lose 6 championships out of 10. That's most.
And hold on, was that the first Olympic dream team to lose? Was LeBron's dream team?
No.
Who was the first Olympic dream team to lose one game?
Did they lose in '96?
I think '96 was the year.
Yeah. The very next one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But losing was the reason they decided to let the NBA players start playing too, right?
Yeah, well, the college players before the '91. Yeah. College players.
Right. Well, but then you had
it
Kobe.
was like the grown men playing against kids.
Yeah.
Because Russia was sending their pro teams, their pro players to the Olympics.
Right.
We were still sending college athletes.
College players, right. But then I think Kobe and them was the redeemed team. So the team before them lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was LeBron's first Olympic team.
Okay, there you go. There you have it.
First Olympic
there you have it.
Yeah, they lost, and then Kobe came on with the redeemed team.
There you have it.
Yeah, man. I just think that yeah. All right. So what?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It was the 2004 team was the first team that lost. Yeah.
Okay. Now I used to like though when the college players went to the Olympics and played it. You know what I mean? I mean, that's because we used to follow college basketball like that though, and we knew who those guys were, man.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't fair, yo. You got 18, 19 year old.
Good though.
You got 18, 19-year-old players playing against grown men from Russia. And
they
were the professionals. Right, they were killing them, but they were the professional sides. So it's like it wasn't fair anymore. And remember, the American Olympics, we were the only country that had the rule is if you got paid to play for the sport, you could not play.
Mm-hmm.
You could not be in the Olympics. You had to be an amateur.
Yeah, it used to be amateur sports, but it was never the case with these other basketball teams, though.
Right, it was never the case for other countries. All the other countries didn't have that stipulation.
Yeah.
All right, man. Y'all want to change? Y'all want to change speeds here and go into a little bit of this NFL, man? We had some games on yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, hey, gentlemen, we up 1 hour and a half. I got to bounce.
All right.
I will see you guys next week. Hey, before I leave, guys, please like, subscribe, and tell your friends to tune in again next week so we can have a better conversation and we can get opinions all across the board. That's what we all about. Yeah. All right, gentlemen. I appreciate you guys.
Hey, man, appreciate you,
man.
Right,
have a good one, Manny.
All right.
Yeah. I just want to talk about those games yesterday. The Ravens and the Steelers game yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, what was your opinions yesterday on the Ravens and the Steelers yesterday, Jim?
I couldn't watch the whole game because I was at a birthday party, but I kept sneaking in and watching highlights and I mean, the Ravens looked sharp on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
I think Derrick Henry was the story for Baltimore, and that offensive line was the story for Baltimore. They gave Derrick Henry the ball 24 times, 162 yards on the ground. I think they caught a break a little bit too with Pittsburgh coming in banged up, but that's the formula to them. They followed Philly's blueprint to some degree, because even though Saquon only ran for like 100 and some, but Jalen also ran. They focused on running and letting that open up, the pass a little bit. And I thought Baltimore followed that blueprint. I think also was helping Baltimore down the stretch this late bye. They're a fresher team, was a lot more healthy. Think it was a good game for Baltimore. Now they just got to win out. But I thought it was a nice contest. I was surprised Pittsburgh hung as long as they did. If they don't turn the ball over going into the end zone before half, and then they don't throw that pick, it's a different ball game. So I was really shocked with that. But Baltimore needed that win. I think they needed it. It was good for them. It was a good game, good contest. But we
were talking about Allen kind of being in the lead for MVP. But do you think Lamar's performance kind of put his name back in?
No.
It's still Allen's.
As far as I'm concerned. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I think so, because like Lamar, like, not to say he's been inconsistent, but sometimes like that pick he threw yesterday, I just thought that like, and sometimes in certain situations, Lamar just, he lose focus. In my opinion, in certain situations, he just lose focus.
But this is the conversation that's going on around the country as far as Lamar, the MVP, and Josh Allen, right? Everybody's saying Lamar's having an incredible year statistically, because he is. Right. I think yesterday he landed on 37 touchdown passes with just 4 interceptions now, right? In total, he's got 40-some touchdowns in total, because he got a few rushing touchdowns of his own, right? And they saying, look at his numbers. But here's the thing. Last year, Lamar didn't have the numbers. Mm-hmm. He wasn't even up there high. He had 24 touchdown passes, and he didn't throw for 4,000, like 3,000 some yards. But the reason he won the award is because the Ravens had the best record, right? So now when you look at Josh Allen, to me, they got the best record. But not only that, they don't have anything. He's taking average guys, man. He looked like a one-man show out there. And they got a greater record. You know what I'm saying? So to me, Josh is clearly, you got Derrick Henry back there. You got all these weapons. You got a better team, and you got a lesser record. Yeah. And I think Buffalo then beat more winning teams. What they did to Detroit, that was all Josh Allen. You know what I mean? So in my opinion, I would even have Saquon a little ahead of Lamar. My opinion. Yeah. But I do think Lamar would be third. Yeah. Because what Saquon? Philly ain't doing what they do if not for Saquon. He changed the whole team around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how I look at it. Josh Allen doesn't have anything. And they destroying teams. Yeah, and I know Baltimore beat them early in the year, but I think this is a different Buffalo team at this point. Yeah. So I don't think it changes the conversation, me personally, but I'm sure some people are going to think it does.
Yeah. And I would like to see them be able to go further into the playoffs and him not get a another MVP trophy. That I think should be his main focus, to get beyond, where they always get,
If I'm them, that's the blueprint. Like, forget about this concentration on. I remember John Harbaugh came out early in the year. We're going to make sure he goes down as the greatest quarterback ever. Fuck all that. Like, win games, man. You got the blueprint. You got this big bell towel in the backfield. This guy, man, his legs is fresh. You didn't overuse him this year. Now you coming down the stretch, cold weather, defense, run the football. Your defense playing better. But it's really because you keeping them off the field. They're not on the field as much. So, protect your defense, run that football. Forget about worrying about, is Lamar going to be the MVP? Just win. And that's what I like about Kansas City, to be honest with you. They don't care, and Pittsburgh, they don't care nothing about styles points. Each game presents a different situation, different dynamic. And what they good at is them crucial moments in the game when you have to make a play. Kansas City finds a way to make it. Man, they try not to mess it up or beat themselves by making bad decisions. Patrick Mahomes, man, down the stretch, I mean, I don't know, man. Like I said, he the man. He is the man. This guy out there on a bad ankle and everything, moving the pocket, running.
Yep.
And they coming back in shape. They got Marquise Brown back. They had Xavier out there. They got D Hops out there. You know, Pacheco, and this is what Andy Reid did smart.
And Hunt. Yeah.
This is what he did smart, because Pacheco back, but I don't know if he's 100%. Yesterday in the game, he made the switch, and he let Kareem Hunt take him down the stretch. Kareem Hunt is more you know, he's the right now at this point, he's getting more yards, and he's more of a power back than Pacheco right now, because you know he's coming off the injury. So yeah, I like what the Chiefs did look like right now. They rounding into shape. But I like what Baltimore did.
Yeah.
Run Derrick Henry. Run him.
I think the AFC playoffs is going to be a banger. I
Yeah.
mean, it is. It is. And all I can just pray that my Vikings keep going and rolling into the playoffs.
Yeah.
On the NFC side.
Now, how like the Vikings as far as their schedule for the rest of the season? Like, is it
They go to Seattle today. That's going to be a rough one. That's a tough place to play.
Yeah.
But
I still think they can beat Seattle though, because sometimes
I think
Seattle,
they can.
Yeah.
They can. We'll see how Geno's playing today, and see if that defense can't, you know, find some turnovers.
This is what's going to be tough for the Vikings. They got Detroit and the Packers left on the schedule.
See that NFC North is just a meat grinder, and this is the man. All three of those teams could have legitimate stories going into the playoffs as to why they're going to make a long run.
I think that's the best division in football right now.
Hands down.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see that.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I will say that all three of them going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
All three of them.
Yeah.
I don't care how to get the season end, all three of them going to the playoffs.
And nobody wants to play them in the playoffs.
No. But I think two of them teams might have to meet each other. I don't know how it's going to play out, you know.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, that AFC thing going to be crazy, man. It's going to be interesting to see that too. So, fun coming down the stretch.
Now, only thing with the Ravens, like you said, their defense played, but their defense is inconsistent though. Like if we could count on that or something close to that every week, then I would have a little bit more faith in the Ravens. But the defense is just too inconsistent.
Well, but like I said, the run game protects them.
Right. That's what helped them out.
Yeah, time of possession.
Yeah.
Time of possession is huge. But really what bothers me with Baltimore going into the playoffs is, and even this year, when you start playing the better teams, you know, and teams that they know it's for some reason they give Lamar difficult looks. Defense is sound, like Philly did, like Pittsburgh did, like, you know, I'm not so sure, you know, I'm just not so sure.
Do that come down to coaching though? Because everything can fall on the, like, can you coach in a way where I think sometimes, in my opinion, I think that like Pittsburgh coach, I think a lot of times he outcoached Harbaugh.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Once you get on the field in formations, as a player, you have to recognize what you're looking at. Mm-hmm. That's beyond the coach. Ray Lewis was great at that. He did so much film study. He started understanding quarterbacks' tendencies. Him and Ed Reed, they was doing bait and switch on quarterbacks. They were confusing quarterbacks. At some point, it's up to the players. You got to go to that next level. And you see Patrick Mahomes do it all the time. He looks defenses off. He changes the call at the line of scrimmage, you know, and stuff like that. I mean, coaching matters, in terms of game plan, how we want to attack this team and stuff like that. But once they get on the field, you go on the field, you got 3 or 4 options, right? And then when that play develops, you got to decide what you're going to go with. And I think it comes down to decision making.
That's why what we spoke about earlier in this podcast, when we spoke about different levels of players, you know what I mean? Like, right, you can take a Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady or somebody, and they will elevate their game and their performance according to, you know what I mean, in that situation. And so, I mean, when you say it like that, once you get out on that field, like Andy Reid don't take snaps.
Nope.
Harbaugh don't take snaps. All right, so I guess you're right when you say it comes down to.
Yeah, and that's what Spags, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, he said it in many interviews. He said, I find the talented guys that have high football IQ.
Yes.
So because I know that once the game's going, they got to know what to do when the stuff starts happening.
And nobody was better than Peyton Manning at that. Peyton Manning, boy, he would sit at that line. He would read your defense, man. But one thing Ray Lewis and them did, they figured it out. So they would never show their hand. They wouldn't get into their formation. They would wait till the shot clock was winding down, and then it was too late to call timeout or audible out of your call. Then they get in position. See, it's a cat and mouse game out there too, man.
That's what we talk about, chess games, chess matches. So even if you don't know what Peyton Manning is saying, that's entertaining in itself. You watching this dude jump around at the offense, like nobody did that, and people don't do that. He going and whispering in people's ears and pointing at different people. That's, you know what I mean? That's just like you said, that cat and mouse, that chess game. You know.
And that's what Flores is doing up in Minnesota. He'll get 6 or 7 guys on the line, and he'll dare the offense to do something because they won't know who's coming and who's not.
That's it. Right. Rex Ryan was great at that, and his dad disguising the blitz, disguising where it's coming from. Good coordinator, and Flores is doing an outstanding job up there in Minnesota. He really is. So. Yeah, it's all about that. I know one time, though, when they played Green Bay, didn't they lose to Green Bay, the Vikings?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Listen, I got to take my hat off to Jordan Love. He was bringing that blitz from different places, but guess what? This kid was hanging in there, delivering the ball. He was taking advantage of the open man and the hot read and everything. He hung in there against that defense.
Jordan loves him, man. He's got accuracy and quickness and focus, man.
Yeah. And Green Bay did a good job in that game mixing up the blitz against Donald because he was confused at times, you know. So,
So,
I don't know, man.
I can see that chess match, man. That that before, it's not just all finesse. It's not just all all hit and stuff like that. It's a chess match, and even people, like I said, casual fans can understand that there's something deeper going on just besides run and catch. So,
And I'm gonna say this: the Ravens caught a break yesterday because that ball hit the turf so many times early in the game that could have had that game get out of hand for them, and that ball bounced their way. That's part of it, though. That's part of it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be interested in watching Christmas because this is an extremely short week for Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Houston.
Yeah.
5 games, and I on short weeks I tend to lean toward the home team because they don't have to travel and stuff. This is a short week, man. 5 days, and you back playing, and you need this game. Houston needs the game, and Baltimore needs the game.
Yeah,
that's gonna be tough.
Yeah, that is gonna be tough.
Yeah. So we're gonna see what happens, man. Yeah. I'm not watching no football today. Ain't nothing good on me. Oh no, Minnesota. That's a good game, right?
Yeah. Minnesota, Seattle.
I might check that out. I don't know. I think Minnesota. I think they take Seattle out. I really do.
I agree. I think Minnesota will take out Seattle today. Yeah.
I don't know what Geno can do against that Brian Flores defense. I don't know what he can do about that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, man. We so fellas, we had another good podcast.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate everybody who participated in the chat. We starting to get more participation, which I appreciate. Yeah, man, y'all make sure to tune in every week, every Sunday at 11 a.m. My guy Jim, I appreciate you, Jim. Appreciate you, Clayton.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate Manny, Manuel, and Tunk. Tunk will be back next week. I don't know what Tunk, he said he has something to do, but Tunk will be back next week. And yeah, man.
Y'all enjoy the games, man.
I'm getting ready to check out this game.
Yep, enjoy this week of sport. Christmas Day. Y'all have a good one, man. All right.
Y'all too. Hey, Clayton, before we go, do you got a pick for the day?
I didn't look at it. Nope.
Okay.
I didn't look at anything. And then look, this time of year, the line movement is not such a strong indicator because everything's tightening up. So a lot of times this time of year, the favorites pretty much come through because of how the playoff picture is lining up. So no, I ain't really look at it now. So last week I did horrible. I thought UConn was on upset alert, but they won by 1 point. The Saints lost by 1 point. So it's that time of year for me to digress and check out now. But y'all have a good one though, man.
All
right.
You guys have a Merry Christmas.
Yes, you too, Jim. Have a great Christmas, man.
Yes.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys.
All right. Keep up.
Appreciate everybody. Yep.